Velveteen Dream is reaching out for a wrestling comeback. Plus, an AEW star was re-hospitalized and may need surgery. Plus, the new TNA World Title has been revealed. It's all in the Cultaholic wrestling news right now. So recently, Patrick Clark, formerly known as Velveteen Dream, put out an apology video. The first time we've heard from Patrick Clark in some years. Booker T, on his Hall of Fame podcast, says that Clark showed interest in getting back into the wrestling world. Booker T said, "I talked to Patrick Clark about 3 months ago. He reached out to me. He was trying to figure out a way maybe to get back into the business. I told him to give me a call, and I don't know what happened. I hadn't talked to him." Booker then was very honest about the steps that Patrick Clark has to take if he wants to return to wrestling. Booker T said he's going to have to put in a whole lot of work, because one thing I said when I came home from prison, I didn't expect people to trust me. I said, I got to earn people's trust. People are going to look at me like I'm a criminal, and that's the way they should look at me. It's going to be up to me to prove myself. So if I could tell Patrick Clark anything, don't quit. Get out there and just earn it. So Booker T with some comments towards Patrick Clark. It's a story we'll keep an eye on. We'll send our best wishes to an AEW star who has once again been hospitalized in the last few hours.
CJ Perry recently spent some time in hospital following an infection. I think a lot of us saw the picture she shared on social media. It did not look nice at all.
Not
Bless
at
her.
all.
She returned at AEW World's End, but that comeback seems short-lived. However, Perry shared on Instagram recently, "On my way to the hospital again because complications happen with healing and infection possibly coming back. I find out soon if I need a second surgery."
We send our best to CJ Perry. Not long, as I say, she had that horrible trip at the hospital. She had a brief return. It seemed as if the motor was running again, and she's back now in hospital, it would seem. Fingers crossed for a full and speedy recovery for her. AEW have been ones for signing these indie names as well as some bigger names, and I think they get a lot of coverage of some of the bigger sort of ex-WWE names and the Hall of Famers that they hire, but they do hire a few smaller names on the periphery to build for future. This, I think, is one of them.
Oh my goodness, me too. This comes from Fightful Select, and they say, after last week's impressive performance against the debuting Mariah May, Fightful Select was informed that Queen Aminata was signed to All Elite Wrestling, though we aren't sure if it's full-time or tiered per appearance. Now, Aminata has made waves on the indie circuit in recent years, despite being sidelined with injury for most of last year. She's been an active competitor since 2017, competing for the likes of Shimmer, Sendai Girls in Japan, and IWA Mid-South. Since returning from injury in December, she's had 4 matches across Ring of Honor and AEW, and backstage people seem very high on her work, and I think last week's match against Mariah May was tremendous. The crowd were really into it as well. I've seen a lot of her matches for like Deadlock Pro and everything as well, and I think Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, she has presence, she's got a great moveset, and I think she's going to be a really good asset to what feels like AEW bolstering their women's roster at the moment, and really hopefully investing in that division.
There seems to be some investment taking place in there, and Aminata is a big part of that future prospect. You've got to believe, as I say, despite the fact that she was out for most of last year, she still has an incredible resume, and I think this might be a breakout year. I've got a good feeling in my waters.
I've got a good feeling too. There's a lot of women that I feel like deserve, titles down the line as well. It's going to be a competitive year, hopefully at least for the women's division. I'm looking forward to it.
You can check out on our YouTube channel right now the 10 best AEW rivalries so far, 5-something years into the company, and there have been some incredible stories told in AEW. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page certainly being one of the finest that they've created, and we look back on 10 of them, 10 of the best ones so far, at youtube.com/Cultaholic. If you want to go back even further, a brand new episode of the Cultaholic Classic Nitro review. Ooh. It's on the podcast feed. Ooh.
Don't know what that was.
That's lovely, that was. Later on today, first one of the brand new year, Sam Driver and myself are watching every single episode of Monday Nitro from the very beginning to its bitter end or ours. And you can watch it if you're a Patreon, but if you're not, you can join us for free on the Cultaholic podcast feed. On a quick note of the podcast feed, just a bit of admin in the middle, apologies for that. If you enjoy the 10-minute wrestling news audio podcast, which is different to this, we do a 10-minute audio news roundup every single morning. They are moving to their own bespoke podcast feed. You can search Cultaholic Wrestling News wherever you get your podcasts from.
It's like when WWE or AEW moves to a new network.
Yeah, it's exciting. Off to a new network they go. So if you search Cultaholic Wrestling News, you'll get 10-minute wrestling news roundups in audio form every single morning when you wake up during the week, and exclusive interviews on the weekend.
Woo.
It's a lovely new podcast feed project that I'm working on, and I'd love your support for it. Thank you very much. The YouTube channel stuff doesn't change. There's no video stuff going anywhere else. This is just for the audio podcast. Find Cultaholic Wrestling News wherever you get your podcasts from. This Saturday, TNA is back. Total non-stop action returns with TNA Hard to Kill. President Scott D'Amore has been presenting the Impact champions with their brand new belts throughout the week. We've seen the new TNA Tag belts, the new TNA Digital Media Championship, the new X Division Championship, and yesterday, the penultimate presentation, Scott D'Amore handed Alex Shelley the new look TNA World Title.
And it's beautiful. I really like it. I like all these new belt designs. What about you?
It's a nice little... I've enjoyed all of them so far. The digital media one just doesn't seem to look any different, which did make me chuckle. But the TNA World... This is like a nice... It's got a nice throwback energy to the old TNA Championship, the one that Moose was carrying around recently. But it's certainly in its shape, but it's modernized a bit. It's got the nice new bold, fresh TNA logo in the middle, a nice adjustment to the side plates, a bit of a plate overhaul in general. I really like it.
Me too.
Feels big.
I think they're doing all the right steps going into Saturday.
And they will step into Las Vegas on Saturday for Hard to Kill. Let's run down the show. Rich Swann one-on-one with Steve Macklin, which I believe is on the pre-show.
Oh, we've got Josh Alexander versus Alex Hammerstone.
Debut for Hammerstone from ML Dub.
Baby.
Ooh. PCO is taking on Dirty Dango one-on-one.
That's going to be fun.
It's going to be a fun one, isn't it?
We've got the Knockouts Ultimate X match. We've got Alicia Edwards versus Giselle Shaw versus Zaya Brookside versus Danny Luna versus Tasha Steeles versus Jody Threat.
The debut of Zaya Brookside in the middle of that.
That's exciting as well.
Speaking of debuts, TNA tag titles on the line. ABC defending against the Rascals. Speedball Mountain, Mike Bailey and Trent Seven. By the way, go watch Mike Bailey versus Leon Slater from North Wrestling Slamfest. It's on the North Wrestling YouTube channel. It is, I know we're like barely a week and some change into 2024. It's match of the year.
I've seen lots of people flying over turnbuckles, flying over ropes. It looks tremendous.
Match of the year. But Mike Bailey's teaming with Trent Seven, and they are also facing the grizzled young veterans making their TNA debut as well. A 4-way tag title match should be fun.
You better bloody win it.
Better win
You
it.
better bloody win it. We've also got the TNA X Division title on the line. Chris Sabin, the champion, defends against Kushida and El Hijo del Vikingo.
TNA World Title on the line. Alex Shelley defends against Moose.
Ooh-wee. And we have the TNA Knockouts title. Trinity is defending that championship against Jordan Grace.
And is this Trinity's last night in TNA?
Could be, baby.
Speculation mounts. PW Insider has also added the belief among those we've spoken to with the TNA is that at least one former WWE name is coming in for Hard to Kill this Saturday in Las Vegas. You won't believe who's showing up, as TNA has been saying in the run-up to Hard to Kill.
Who's it gonna be?
Oh.
Who's it gonna be?
Doink the Clown.
Doink the Clown. Absolutely. The Undertaker.
Buzzing for my mates, my colleagues in TNA. Massive start to 2024 for them. Looking forward to seeing Hard to Kill. Hopefully you are as well. And for the latest wrestling news throughout the day, you can check out cultaholic.com. Keith.
I love you, bye.